Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. So, I wanted to mention something to you and I think it's cool in and of itself, but I gotta admit I find it somewhat disheartening that it's happening. So, I don't know how many of y'all will know this, but there was some internal conversations leaked from Disney producers and higher ups and whatever. One of the art directors or show directors or whatever said that basically she tries to insert queerness into every Disney program that she's on. And I find that a little weird. I really do. And I realize that, Disney is the parent company of, many studios. And so, okay, you want to insert something like that in the Marvel universe, I might think it's silly trying to turn a lead character gay, but is he moving or not? There he goes, I think. Alright, we're coming across here. I see the train ain't moving. So anyway, here's my take on it. If you wanted to turn a character gay, I might think it's weird that, you've had this character through comic books or other movies or in other Marvel universes that was this way and now you're changing them. But okay, whatever. That's not the hill I'm going to die on. But you start inserting anything that has to do with gender ideology into programming that I want my 6-year-old to watch, and then I have a problem. And Disney's talked about doing that. They want 50% of their cast to be some sort of minority, whether it is ethnic or sexual identity minority. And so, due to that, let me back up. A few years ago, before Disney and the Florida Don't Say Gay bill happened, one of the podcasters I listen to occasionally had started talking about starting his own children's programming in his network. Kind of neat. And at the time I put up a video saying that, in the long term, I think this is a good thing for kids, but I also think it's a bad thing for kids societally. I think it's a good thing that you're putting up, just wholesome children's programming without any sort of ideology behind it, that it's just, good, clean fun for kids. I think that's cool. I think it's bad for kids societally because, okay, you have a kid or a group of kids at school that only watches alternative, wholesome, non-ideological children's programming that it really appeals to them, that they like as much as, anything else that's on the TV. Okay, fine. That's good. But suppose their parents only let them watch that because they know that they'd have to screen everything for woke gender ideology stuff. Okay, I can understand why you do that. Sometimes the TV is a wonderful thing. You've got to cook dinner, fold laundry, wash dishes, whatever. The TV is a wonderful babysitter for that half hour. You don't necessarily want to have to watch all of your kids' TV shows to find out if it's okay for your kid to watch all those TV shows based on the content you want in your house. Where I think that's going to be silly is, kids talk about everything that goes on in their house. Well, mommy and daddy did this. Well, my sister and brother did this while we were watching TV. Well, what's that show? I've never heard of that. It lessens the amount of common ground that kids can find with each other. And Daily Wire recently announced that they are starting children's programming. They've got some artists and writers that did the old VeggieTales series that was, Christian children's cartoons. And I remember watching them. I remember my kids watching them. So I think it's good that people are doing it. I don't think it's good that people feel the urge to do it. Like, okay, rewind 20 years ago. VeggieTales made Christian cartoons with messaging about the world from a Christian perspective, and broke down some of the biblical stories and animated them into cute things that the kids could understand. Okay, fine. But a lot of parents wouldn't necessarily say to their kids, hey, well, you can't watch SpongeBob or Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or, the cartoons that come on at Nickelodeon during, 2 o'clock in the afternoon right after they get off the bus. It was just, hey, let's watch some VeggieTales because that gives you a Bible story in there too. I think that if the mainstream established networks that have been around forever are not careful, they will find themselves losing business faster than they can imagine. I was talking a lot about this with my wife the other day, and I think that a lot of parents are going to become a fairly solid voting bloc in the next few years if certain people in the political process don't change their tune. What I mean by that, okay, you can have parents that disagree on a lot of things, gun rights, abortion, drug laws, immigration, everything that the political parties will bicker about, they'll disagree on. But all parents will agree that the most important thing is their kids. That's the reason I go to work. That's the reason I roll out of bed in the morning at 3 in the morning to go to work. That's the reason that I budget for the future. That's the reason that I do my best to make responsible choices and don't drive around a brand new Mustang every year. That's the reason that I bought the house that I bought. On and on and on and on. Kids are the most important thing in a parent's life, period. And anyone that is a parent that doesn't tell you that, I wonder about. And anyone that isn't a parent that doesn't agree with that, wait till you have a kid. You will have parents, my opinion, that will suppose they are pro-choice and open border and anti-gun and 1,000 other reasons to vote for most Democratic candidates. If that Democratic candidate is pro something that they don't like for their children, I see it as being more than a 50% chance that they vote Republican or against their normal party, just for the simple fact that kids are the most important thing. So I think that a lot of the Democrats that are into all these different ideologies, gender ideology and things like that, I think that they are doing so at their own peril. And I think it's going to be very telling what your elected representatives' priorities are when pen goes to paper, and I think it's going to be very telling what parents' priorities are when they start voting in a monolithic voting bloc against that. A lot of people have talked about, you always choose the lesser of two evils in your own mind when you vote. That's very fair. You know, if I think that gun laws should be tougher, but I don't want someone to do anything to my kids in education that I don't want them to do, I can blow up someone's email. I can, write a ton of emails to a representative and say, I'm not a fan of this gun law. I think it should be repealed, or I think you should do this for gun laws, but I'll vote for the person that I don't like on gun laws over voting for someone that I don't like on what they want to do with my kids. That's what I got to say, folks. I think that there's going to be a great bifurcation and a great reshuffling of a lot of our entertainment sector and public spaces. That's what I got.